something huge is happening to the way people work in India. We're talking about one of the biggest shakeups to its employment laws in decades. A whole tangle of old, complex rules is being thrown out and replaced with a brand new system. So what's actually changing, and more importantly, why should you care? Let's dive in.
For years, this was the magic number that defined work in India, 29. That's right, 29 different central labor laws, many of them dating back decades. They were complicated, they overlapped, and sometimes they even contradicted each other. For businesses, it was a compliance nightmare. And for workers, well, it was just confusing.
And now, all of that complexity is being boiled down to this simple number, just 4. 4 new, streamlined codes that are meant to replace that entire messy web of old laws. This isn't just a minor tweak, it's a fundamental rewrite of the rules of the game for the Indian workforce, a total reboot. So you might be asking, why go through all this trouble? Why tear up the old rulebook and start fresh? What was so broken that it needed such a massive overhaul? Well, the core of the problem was just how fragmented everything was. You had laws written for a totally different economic era, some from way back in the 1940s. This created major headaches for businesses trying to grow, but more importantly, it left huge swaths of the workforce, especially in the informal sector, without any clear protections. The system just wasn't built for the modern world. So what's the big solution? Well, it all comes down to these 4 new codes. Each one is designed to tackle a specific piece of the puzzle when it comes to the relationship between employers and employees. Let's quickly walk through what each one does. First up, we've got the Code on Wages. Its goal is simple: create clear, uniform rules about wages and make sure everyone gets paid on time. Then there's the Industrial Relations Code, which aims to simplify the rules for things like forming unions and sorting out workplace disputes. The third one, the Code on Social Security, is a really big deal. It's designed to bring millions of workers who were previously left out into the social safety net. And finally, you have the OSHWC Code, which is all about setting standard, modern, safety and health rules for pretty much every workplace. Okay, so we've got these new laws, but what does that actually mean for people? What's the promised upside here for both individual workers and for the economy as a whole? This is where things get really interesting, especially when you look at Social Security. Before, coverage was super limited. A huge chunk of the workforce, especially informal workers, got nothing. But now, the new code specifically calls out gig and platform workers. Your delivery drivers, your freelance app developers, and makes them eligible for benefits. For them, this is potentially a complete game changer. This image really captures the big picture, the whole vision behind the reforms. It's all built on these 3 pillars: making work more formal, more secure, and more equitable. And you can see how that breaks down into specific goals like better welfare for migrant workers and a real push for gender equity. It's an attempt to look at the entire workforce and bring it all up to speed. But having these great ideas is one thing. How do you actually get those benefits to millions of people who aren't in a traditional office job? The answer is tech. They're building a whole new digital ecosystem, starting with something called the eShram portal. Workers can register, get a unique account number, and boom, that number becomes the key to getting benefits delivered directly, connecting that massive informal economy to a formal safety net. But look, no change this big ever happens without some serious debate and a few red flags. It's not all smooth sailing. So to get the full story, we have to look at the other side of the coin, the challenges and the criticisms. And this right here, this is the heart of the debate. It's a constant tug of war between flexibility for employers and security for workers. For instance, companies with up to 300 employees can now lay people off without getting government permission first. The old limit was 100. The idea is to make it easier for businesses to adapt, but critics and unions are worried. They fear this could lead to a hire and fire culture and ultimately weaken job security for everyone. And the worries don't end there. There's a real risk that these laws will be implemented differently from state to state, creating a confusing patchwork of rules. Some also fear the new codes could make it harder for workers to strike or bargain collectively. And while Social Security for gig workers sounds great on paper, there are questions about how well it will actually work in practice. Add to that the potential misuse of contracts and the fact that many small businesses and workers don't even know about these changes, and you've got some serious hurdles to overcome. Okay, so with all these potential pitfalls, what's the way forward? How can these reforms be put into practice in a way that actually achieves the good stuff without causing a bunch of new problems? Well, the sources suggest a pretty clear 5-step roadmap. First, harmonize the rules across all states so everyone's on the same page. Second, Strengthen the laws themselves by writing key details right into the text, so they can't be easily changed. Third, build a truly robust safety net for gig and informal workers. Fourth, balance that new flexibility for companies with things like mandatory unemployment insurance and job retraining programs. And finally, and this is crucial, educate everybody, from the smallest business owner to the individual worker, so they know their new rights and responsibilities. So that's where we land. This massive overhaul is officially on the books, but its success is anything but guaranteed. The ultimate test, the final question, is whether India can pull off this incredibly difficult balancing act, creating a dynamic environment where businesses can grow and create jobs, while at the same time ensuring that every single worker is treated fairly and has the security they deserve. Only time will tell if they can get it right.